Matt Schultz.
And I'm Austin Cummings.
And thank you for tuning into another Nintendo podcast.
Yes, very good. Thanks for finding us.
Where we discuss
How'd you do it?
the E3 leaks and rumors. I'm doing
Very
well.
good.
How are you?
Oh, Matt, I am doing very well. It's been a little bit of time since the last one, so like a little over a week, and we're back, and a lot has been happening in the world of Nintendo. Back at it.
We're still
right,
here.
Yeah. All you fans, you counted us out. We're back against all odds. We really carved out time to do something important, and that is this question mark. There's some good stuff to talk about this week, Matt.
Right, we got a ton of great stuff.
But before we begin, let me open the show as we always do with one refreshing. Oh, LaCroix, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are enjoying a lime LaCroix. Once again, LaCroix, proud unofficial sponsor of the show. That's going to be no calories, no regrets. LaCroix.
Right. Put one in your mouth today.
Put one in your mouth today at your local friend store where they sell all the other things to put in your mouth.
Is that a store in Oregon?
Yeah, you're not gonna find it on Yelp. I'll tell you that.
That's true. All right, let's jump right into our first segment, confessions. What have you been buying? Okay,
this is what I bought. So last week there were on Amazon. I sent you the link for this, but there were some SanDisk sales, and their deal of the day. I did actually do it. Was
Wait,
a 400.
You didn't have a SanDisk in your Switch?
Of course I had a SanDisk, but you could always have more. So the deal of the day was the 400 gig card, and it was like
huge.
Maybe 140, I think it was. So I got that because I'm almost out on my 200 in the Switch. And then I know. And then did I need to do this? Probably not. But this was a decision I made. And then also I got another card for my new 3DS XL, which is almost full. So that it is actually full. So that one made a little more sense for me. So I got the 128 for the new 3DS XL, which you can make work if you format it to the FAT32 file format. It seems like you should not go larger than 128 though on the new 3DS XL because it really slows everything down.
Yeah.
But yep. So anyway, I got those. That's my confession. And now I've just been trying to get all of my save data onto it, which has been a whole terrifying adventure because as we know, the stakes are very high until September, and so I'm like being very careful about like copying everything over.
That thing sealed in its plastic.
I know, and I put it. I moved the 400 one on. It took like hours to move these things over, and then my Switch like did not detect it, and I was like, oh god, here we go. Like everything's gonna be gone, and thankfully, everything's on the old card still, but it's very nerve-wracking, so I'll let you guys know how it goes. Matt, you got anything? You got a little special anything?
Yeah, actually, a couple of things. Well, literally, just before the show, I went and pre-ordered that fancy new Switch little kickstand charging dock.
Yes, a little charging cradle.
But super disappointed because it doesn't come out until July 13th. And
I know.
It's literally the day I'm traveling on a summer trip with the fam. I'll be heading to Hawaii. And the other part of the island that's not in Molten Flame.
Right, not the Big Island. Or is it the
Big Island, just the opposite side.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Is that, because what portion of it right now, is it the southeast or the northwest? Isn't it one of the two?
It's the southeast portion of the island. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
I'll be kind of on the west, smack middle west. Of the island.
Midwest, no coastal anything. I want just dead center Hawaii. That's why we go. No ocean, please. You can catch me, hiking or something.
Just want the full Lost experience.
Right, very good.
Do not want that. I want a nice, relaxing time in Hawaii. But I was looking forward to, this would be great. I mean, I've mentioned many times on the show, my partner and I play Switch whenever we're traveling. And that was perfect because we run out of battery pretty quickly, and I don't know. I feel like the way the dock works, right? It's really easy to plug in your charger and still have it docked without
still have the view accessible for two people. Yeah. Well, yeah,
that's not the only thing though. I also bought a Pearl and Marina 2-pack.
There it is. That is so very exciting.
I've actually had this pre-order for some time. I've had it pre-ordered for a month and a half now. They don't come out until July.
That's crazy, Dan. What is taking those girls so long?
Same date as the Switch dock.
Wow, that's a big day. That's a big day.
Right, big Nintendo day. I also have Smash Brothers pre-ordered on Amazon, but it's whatever.
Yeah, whatever. No big deal. Just get that, get a sweet Amazon discount.
And then they're like, and you can get the one with the GameCube adapter. And I was like, I want that one. And then I had to switch everything. So I'm sure that's going to happen again.
Well, yes, I know. We will see. That's a topic probably for another time. But yes, that is all very exciting. You know, I do everything digital, so I'm excited about the cards and whatnot.
Yeah.
But transferring it is a big thing. But I did also pre-order that cradle, and I'm excited. I loved the cradles back for the 3DS, and this is kind of fun, like just to kind of set it in there. It's nice, and then
plop it
just
in.
to kind of do the tabletop mode. Yeah, it's very exciting.
A new throne that doesn't look like a toaster.
A new throne that doesn't look like a toast. It says that right on the box.
It's that.
Very good. Okay, well, that's exciting. What have you been playing? What are your salvations, Matt?
Actually, so as everyone knows, I'm the slow gamer here. I beat nearly 100%ed SteamWorld Dig 2 last night. Actually.
Very cool. Did you finish those the trials at the end? Like after you finish the story, there's like the trial rooms that open up. Are you familiar with this?
No. What? I just
so
played
that
it
is like
one time through, and like I should go back and play trials.
Yeah, so like after you finish it, and if you're trying to like clear up the map, it's like I believe it's in the main, like the big outdoor area, like the top of the map.
Yeah.
The not underground area, go figure. And there is like a platform, and there's like a series of trials, and it's like kind of a gauntlet. I think you have to finish like a half dozen different like challenge rooms in a row in order to complete it.
That's awesome.
And it's very cool. It's hard. It's like, yeah, it's definitely the hardest bit of the game, although it's not, not, you know.
Have you beat him?
Not doable. I have beaten them, yeah, because I'm an MLG pro gamer, so it wasn't even like a huge deal. But yeah, they're fun. They kind of like mix up the mechanics a little bit. Actually, Celeste does a similar thing where it's like after you beat the game, there's this final kind of chapter, and the way in which that works is similar, where it's like, it changes the mechanics of the game a bit, and then you have to go through it again with these like kind of change ups. So
last night,
yeah,
I was like, oh, what do I do now? But now, I mean, I really enjoyed SteamWorld Dig 2, and so much so that I was a little bummed when it was over. It all just kind of happened so quick.
I know that. I would say like the story of the game, I didn't really grab me. I love the way the art looks, but it does feel like it ends very quickly. Like the resolution with Rusty and everything, and the people.
The story was pretty. It just like I thought I was going somewhere, and then it just halted. It was like, this is it. This is like the.
Right, I agree.
No spoilers on this show, but
no. I'd hate to spoil that.
Good to see Rusty again. I enjoyed playing SteamWorld Dig on 3DS.
Nice to see. He's all right.
So yeah, that's what I've been playing. How about you?
Awesome. I haven't really been playing much. I've been very busy with work. I have played a little bit of God of Wars, but not a lot else really. Actually, no, I take that back. I've been playing Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze on the Switch.
So many people are playing that right now.
I know. It's like the thing where everyone's like, it's amazing. And you know what's funny about the kind of the reception, I feel like, is that when Jose Otero at IGN gave it like a 9, right?
Right.
I remember at the time he got like kind of a lot of flack for like maybe overrating it. And like people were like not really that moved by it on the Wii U. And obviously the Wii U was not
super difficult, and no one had a Wii U, so
yeah, and I think people were there was like a general consensus where they're like, oh, Donkey Kong moves slowly, it's not as good as the Mario games, like it's kind of overrated. But now it's like the perception is so positive, it's getting great reviews everywhere. Like GameSpot went from like, I think their original review was like a 6.5 or something on Donkey Kong up to a 9 for the Switch one. It's different reviewers, obviously, so it's obviously totally fine for them to change their
and it's like I wonder like
review,
how many like I don't know, points is worth like playing it in handheld, anywhere. I wonder like how many points is that
I know how much does exactly the console kind of change that equation a bit, even if unintentionally. But yeah, it's great. I beat the game on Wii U, but it's been very fun to revisit, and I feel like we're talking about Celeste and even SteamWorld. I've been playing so many challenging 2D platformers. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is challenging, but I don't feel like it's so punishing. I'm most of the way through it, and I have like nearly 100 lives kind of at all times. And I'm not like so MLG at Donkey Kong. It's just like there's no timer. You just kind of take your time, collect every banana. That's where all the secrets are. And yeah, I've just been loving it. It's been really fun. I played the first time co-op, and so it's been kind of fun to play it solo.
Oh, okay.
And a sad reflection of my life now.
So as someone who has rarely played Donkey Kong outside of Donkey Kong 64,
we don't speak of that on the show anymore.
Like not a traditional, platformer Donkey Kong game.
Yeah, we do not speak on that. We do not speak about that on that show anymore.
Would you recommend this for like?
Oh yeah,
someone like
absolutely.
myself?
It's the best Donkey Kong Country game. Okay. Definitely, and it has really wonderful music. It looks great. It has all the attention to detail that all the Nintendo games have had. And just the biggest thing about it is like the challenge is fair and rewarding. The level design is clever. All the platforms are like connected to things in the background, and something will fall. You'll shoot in a barrel towards the background, and it'll change something in the foreground, and it just keeps it all. It always has like a really distinct visual identity that's constantly changing, and the levels are varied, and a lot of them feel experimental. There'll be like a minecart level, but then you'll be immediately followed by like a swimming level that introduces a new mechanic that then isn't used again, and then you're in a wind level, and it's like has some cool wind stuff, but it's neat that it's always kind of mixing it up, and it's
so really
totally worth checking out.
Donkey Kong has nowhere else to go from here but Breath of the Wilding the whole thing.
I think that's absolutely where it's going. Open world 2D Donkey Kong. That's where it's going next. No, it is great. I mean, it's the best of the Kongs. I do wish it were not $60. That's the one kicker on it. I feel like it would have been more approachable. I mean, I bought it, so who am I to say? But like at 40, same thing goes for. We were talking about Banner Saga the other week, and that just actually came out last week on the Switch, which is very cool and it's doing well. But it is
best-selling games right now.
It is $20, and that is a bummer because it's constantly like $5 or something on iOS, and it's just like, it's too bad they can't. This is the story for all the Switch games, right? Things are just they have like a little Nintendo tax, and sometimes it's for the cartridge in physical form, and sometimes it's just like the pricing feels a little off. Even like Mario Kart, last year, 60 was like a little harsh given I've already bought that game and all the DLC. It's
and it's just like
just for battle mode.
You're like doing your Wii U, base like dirty. Like we're the ones that sustained you for 5 years.
Especially with Donkey Kong, because it's like the added feature. At least Mario Kart had a few more characters, and the battle mode, this is Funky Kong in it, and hey, I just do not trust that Kong, and it's just like goes like in general, he's just a laid back attitude. I'm like, you know what? He needs to grow up and get a real job. I guess he's actually the only employed Kong because he like runs the shop. So I take that back for Funky Kong, but it's just an easy mode. Like Funky Kong, there isn't anything for me to use. So the 60 feels especially egregious. Whereas if Funky Kong were just like, oh, he's a Kong who's just as challenging as the other Kongs, but in Tropical Freeze, Donkey, Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky, they each have different kind of locomotion elements to move throughout the level, and different things they can avoid, and things they can speed past, and yada yada. And Funky Kong does have new versions of that, but he's kind of a culmination of all the Kongs, and he's very easy, and he has more hearts, and it's kind of hard to kill. So yeah, it's $60 is like I don't really want the easy mode, so it feels a little bit rough, but it's a great game. I'm glad that people are playing it.
Right, and yeah, so I'm really interested. It's games like this though, like I own Captain Toad on Wii U, and I really want to buy it on the Switch, but I'm still just like, they're just. And Captain Toad's not a $60 game. But that one's even more attractive because there's like the Metro Kingdom stuff, like the new Donk City level. So there is a little more in it, and I didn't beat it on Wii U, so part of me kind of wants to revisit it, but who knows? But we know. I say who knows as if I don't know, but I do know. So we'll see. Let's do lastly here, Matt, before we get on to our big portions of the show today, let's talk about our fan check-in. Yeah, what are our fans doing?
What are our fan doing? Well, it's King Daniel the Dandy. And what is he doing? Well, he has been playing Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Very cool. I really hope that game is ported, speaking of what we were just talking about. That is a game I did not play at all, but I'm very interested in. Let's hope that comes to the Switch. Also, he talked about the online a little bit. I want to talk about the online a little more. I have some new thoughts on it, but he thinks the online looks pretty dope, and I would agree to that. Sushi Strikers, he's impressed by. He says it's damn fun. So it sounds like some hands-on possibly for him.
That show. There's a great Nintendo Minute on Sushi Striker right now.
I think I'm feeling like I'm definitely going to check it out. And he is a fan of the Dylan's Rolling Western, which we threw some shade on the other week. As in like Sushi Striker falling into the same camp as like
all our fans.
All our fan. And then he's also not a sports guy, so hats off to you, King Daniel the Dandy. Stay strong, stay united against people with that interest in those athletic events. And then also he's a busy podcast boy, but you know what? He's a great dude, and we love him. We appreciate his sticking around. I want to say this about this. I have a question for you, Matt. Yeah. So I was thinking a bit about the online services more. And kind of, we were on that high when we were reacting. The teams were reacting. We were trying to get right there with them, see what they're doing, emulate the teams as we do in our daily life. I know you and I are big fidget spinner enthusiasts, and we love Fortnite and dabbing and all those types of things. So we're right in their culture.
I have a fidget spinner with me right now, actually.
Well, I have 3 on my person at all times. But the big thing is, like, in that moment, it was very exciting. How do you feel now, like a week and a half removed from the announcement? Because my feelings have shifted a little.
Okay, interesting. So first of all, I was going to say that I believe Nintendo said that late May, if not this week, was when family signups were going to happen. Family, quote unquote.
Family of friends, family of cheap friends.
Nintendo account and start linking those. I don't know. I haven't seen any more information on that, but I remember when it first came out, when the news broke. They mentioned that either on their Twitter. I was looking right now trying to find that date. Anyways,
let me clarify something. Matt and I are on Skype, and he is holding a fidget spinner. That is not a joke, ladies and gentlemen.
I am not.
This checks out for real, and he's spinning it like a goddamn beautiful teen. Pika.
The spinning in the mic.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? The universal motion of the teens across America. Teens circa like last February or January. It's not even good enough for teens anymore, but it's very cool, Matt. Keep it up.
Just kids. The demographic is younger and younger and younger. I'm pretty sure my 6-year-old goddaughter is like super into them right now.
They're all getting their hand-me-down fidget spinners, and they'll transition to the 5-year-olds.
They're a little rusty.
Yeah. Baby's first fidget.
Dropped in the bathtub a little too often.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Okay, so my overall thoughts. I'm excited, mostly because I think that it's just the beginning. I think $20 is great. To me, I'm just, I'm okay with doing it, especially if this family plan thing works out. But like, I'm really, really interested to see how they're going to. I mean, this is, you might not remember this. Maybe you do. You and I chatted years ago on the phone. And we were talking about how we love just a Nintendo Netflix-like subscription service.
For sure.
And this may not seem like it on the surface right now because we're like, 10 NES or 20 NES games, yay! But like I want to believe this is like the start of what that.
I hope it is too. I mean, I think that's giving them like a bit of faith, but I do also hope that is the way that it's going to be. I just feel like the one caveat I guess I have is that I think the more and more I've sat on it, the less and less interested I am at the moment in revisiting like NES games. That's the one thing that does. I think feeling like initially it was like cloud saves for me. That was like a huge part of it, and the price I still think is right. Although it is worth mentioning that at the very least, Xbox, your saves are still like in the cloud, whether or not you're paying or not. And I think probably PlayStation 2. I don't know if you need PlayStation Plus in order to do cloud saves, but in any event. That's the big feature for me. The NES, I just really hope they deliver on it, or that the online component, the things that are being added, is substantive enough. Because right now it's like a little bit. I don't really want to play NES games again. Right. Like that, it just isn't that interesting to me. Like I can't get that as excited about Super Mario Bros. 3, and that's the best game on that list.
To be honest, to have to pay for any online service, I think there needs to be some basic online functionality, and it's just still not there. Like that's what is
frustrating because I was playing the Splatfest, I was playing the TMNT Splatfest, and it was very fun, of course. But like I got disconnected like every 3 matches, and there was always some quirkiness. And it's not like the end of the world worst thing, but there still isn't any way to really communicate with people or invite them to your match or to join their match.
Exactly.
No way to do it. Like,
and you
then it's
can
like
via
NES
the app,
games.
but you have to do everything. You have to put down your Switch or your controller and grab your phone. And one thing I was really upset about was, like, for example, my little brother came over. He was here last weekend. I showed him Breath of the Wild, like kind of like demoed the Switch for him, and the thing sold itself. He got home, ordered one. It was great. He immediately added me on. This is just another example of someone who's been off the Nintendo train since we were kids, and he's back.
And to clarify, as people know, your little brother is 4 years old, so very impressive that he got on there and ordered it. We want to really applaud that. Just kind of tech savvy youth of America.
He remembers the Wii U.
Right. Yes.
No, so actually, my brother and I are actually less than a year apart. So we, we saved our money together to buy our first N64, and like we played Sega and SNES, like our neighbor's house.
Oh, Pika! We can't talk about that Sega. Not on this show. Yes, no.
So
they're not a threat to us anymore.
No, so I saw him playing online, and I'm like, I just want to send him a ping or something that's like, hey,
I just want to reach out and give him a big bear hug. Why can't I do that? I can do that on Xbox.
Right, and I just wanted to come up on like in a little toaster box in the top left corner.
Yeah.
As it does, it says like. Right. Schultze 2b2. Oh, just gave away my
Nintendo ID. No. Well, the fans. They're really gonna come at you.
Yeah, find me. We'll play Splatoon together, and we won't talk.
Very good. We can't, and we can barely play together in the first place. So it's like it's very empty threat to say like anyone's gonna find you.
I just wanted those things. These are things I've been wanting on like Nintendo forever. Like every time someone was online on the 3DS, I was like, oh my gosh, my light is blinking. Let me exit what I'm doing just so I can see who else is playing. And typically it was you.
Yeah, there's no one else.
No, but now I have so many people on Switch. Like I have so many friends who have been off Nintendo's train for a long time, and here they are back on the train. And I just want to talk to them. I just want to play with them. I want to send them stuff.
Hang out on the train for a bit. Chill out.
Be in the same car together. I mean, like it's just not. It's not where I think paying for an online service should be. And,
oh no, for sure.
And that's what I'm bummed about. And that's why I'm like, oh, okay, $20. They're really not like. You know, if that just covers the like stability of playing online, great. That's fun. And then they like to start adding SNES games, great, or NES games.
Right.
But I don't know if it was anything more, I would be really really upset.
I'm 100% right there with you. Hopefully the infrastructure it takes a bit of a improvement as well, but I don't have a ton of faith in it, so it'll just remain to be seen.
Right.
So, okay, well, good chat on that. But now let's get to a very quick big end in the news before we go on to the topic of the show, the ANP headliner. So let's kind of crank through. Matt, we have 4 episodes, topics for big end in the news today. Do you want to walk us through kind of what the first one is?
Yeah, let's do it. So Nintendo Labo was in the news. Ariana Grande was using the Labo with the Roots
Jimmy Fallon
and Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, very cool.
And it was awesome. The video is so great. Oh my gosh. It
is cool. They all have these kind of Labo modded cardboard instruments, and they play in.
Right.
Jimmy Fallon's always done things like this.
Had a major hand in developing these.
Yeah, and it looks like a very complicated infrastructure. Some people are playing like using the robots too. It's a cool video, and like it is just another example of like the flexibility of the music platform stuff is cool in that, and it's neat to see it. As a fun aside, I saw Bill Nye last Friday. He was in Portland, and I went and he did like a talk on volcanoes. And anyway, he did make one Nintendo Switch reference, and I did think of him because he was in a Labo commercial when they were rolling that out as well. So it's neat that they've kind of been trying to get other people in to promote this outside of the usual rung of just like YouTube promoters at the moment, like kind of fun celebrity endorsements and cool proof of concepts like this. So that was just wanted to throw it out there. Topic 2, Charging Cradle. We did talk about that. It's coming out in July. It comes out for $19.99. Too late for Matt. I know. Don't grieve him.
Beginning of May or late April, whenever they announce.
I know.
What the heck? July 13th? Come on.
I appreciate the Charging Cradle is like the price point is surprisingly good. Is how it feels to me. Like it's not really as terrible. I would have thought like $35.
It's
frankly,
$10
which isn't
cheaper than what the dock should be.
Right. Exactly. And so that is neat and it's fun. It looks nice, and I look forward to using it like that for a tabletop. The next thing to talk about is Mario Tennis Aces. So, Matt, we have a demo coming out this week. It's only in 3 days, on the 24th.
Yes, I will. Is that now? You can't play it online with so you and I can't play it together until I believe June 1st, 2nd, 3rd weekend. That's when they'll have their very Splatfest
multiplayer tournament,
or Test Fire, Test Punch,
exactly.
Test Racket. I guess I don't know. That's when they're gonna do that, which will be awesome. I think this is gonna be a Mario Strikers level of like competitiveness, but.
It's cool. So when I think of like the 10-pole Mario sports games, I would say tennis ranks the highest. I think most people think of that, and golf, and but what's cool about this is that it has a multiplayer tournament from the 1st to the 3rd, and there's going to be offline like play against computer players too, which is neat. But what's cool is that it's a little more built out, it seems, than Splatoon or ARMS, in that you're going to collect a currency in it you can use to unlock additional characters beyond Mario, Peach, Yoshi, and Bowser who are in it. Which is neat. And also, if you play it, you will unlock Mario's classic outfit in the game's full version. So that is also a neat incentive to kind of add that in there.
The story mode looks so good in this game, too. It looks really, really fleshed out.
It looks super fun. Magical. Did you watch the cinematic with like Waluigi and Wario? Yes. And they're like,
they turn into like
neat.
rock golems or ghost things or whatever they turn into. And this magical racket. It's like the Infinity Gauntlet of Mario.
For sure.
Mario
that puts a smile on my face. Yeah, it does look neat.
Well, I was gonna say I'm just I'm obviously very excited for it, but I'm wondering, can you I get the Switch Online portion's not coming till, like we said, June 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or whatever. However, can I play local? Can I have someone else with the demo and play next to them locally?
Yeah, that I don't know.
That would be nice.
No idea on that.
I think that would be instant seller for me if like I can start getting.
For sure. I know. I love demos. I think Nintendo's really the only one doing them right now quite like this. You get the beta type things for multiplayer content on the other consoles, but Nintendo has been doing these kind of there are still multiplayer based, but it really feels like a full on demo, to promote the product with these classic characters a lot of the time. It's special that it exists. I have such fond memories of playing demos to death back in the day, like any multiplayer little out. I remember a good buddy of mine, we played hours and hours of Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects, which was a not very good 3D Marvel fighting game back on Xbox, and it was like you could only play like 4 characters on one stage, and we played it just I don't know, a dozen hours straight, and then went out and bought it. It is fun when you're able to use a demo like this and play with a friend, like locally, like you're describing. It does really inspire you to be like, you know what? We've really played Peach versus Yoshi to death. Like, let's get out there. Then anything else is like, oh wow, there's Chain Chomp, or there's whomever. It's always exciting.
But I think you and I can't wait to play with you online. I can't wait to get going with this.
So excited. Also, it's been a bit of a lull in Switch games. Like I've been enjoying Donkey Kong. I have been enjoying Kirby. I've been playing more of that, but there hasn't been a big release since Odyssey, and I feel like to some degree this is the first. This is the first thing. It's a totally new. Kirby was as well, but I think this appeals to more people. It has that more of an interesting multiplayer hook.
This is basically their Splatoon 2 of last year.
Right.
This is their big summer online.
And then we're
Switch
not even
game.
that far away from the Splatoon 2 DLC, so it's going to be a good little run there, and in July.
And we'll get into this hopefully in our next podcast. We'll talk about some E3 predictions and our hopes for what we really are hoping the 2018 year looks like for Nintendo. Because you're right. Right now it feels kind of like the third parties and Nindies have kind of just filled the dry spell of
and to some degree there are so many, which is cool, but like Nindies and smaller titles that like when I log onto the eShop, there is so much trash on there, like so much trash. Like you load up now, there's like a bunch of edutainment stuff, like and that are just. It looked to be of a low caliber, and it feels very Wii-ish or like DS-ish, and
there's no life to it, and it feels like kind of like a web, like a beta website. You're just like,
I know, it's like very sterile. Which is like I don't really have a problem being like, well, you need to get the poor quality stuff off there. It's like fine that it's on there, but I think to some degree, the thrill of like just having any of this on the go is exciting. Has dwindled a little. It is exciting for me to play like tentpole games like Donkey Kong on there. It is like, wow, I can't believe it's on the go. That still holds up. But to play like just an indie or what have you, not quite as motivating. So I am excited to have these bigger games.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. And speaking of bigger games, we'll jump into Splatoon 2 again real quick.
Here we
go.
We
get to another bigger game. Who won the Splatfest?
It was good old Donnie. It was that techie twiddle. Right. He won it. And again, another example of not winning the popular vote, but his team narrowly squeaking out both the team and solo wins. So that seems to be a bit of a pattern. I think now the number of wins are 20, wins that Pearl has had, and 18 that Marina Sign has had, which is a little arbitrary, but that is cool. I know we've said this in the past, but like they have done a really good job choosing like divisive topics that really have narrow splits and wins that are not obvious.
Especially in like the Nintendo community or just the gaming community. I think they're doing a great job with that, and I love
really choosing great
partnerships.
I know more of those. I think the general consensus of the community, I think people are like pretty done with the turtles at the end of it, and I think if you're a regular Splatoon player, you're probably getting inundated with 3 weeks of like the Miiverse-esque posts about them. You're probably feeling kind of tired. It may be a little bit of a long one, but I love the idea. There's so many properties I would love to have this like tournament style thing applied to, like the core Avengers, like who's the best of the Avengers, that would be like such a fun one, or favorite Star Wars character or movie.
I could see him doing something
trilogy
with DC, actually. feel like DC is
Yeah,
looking for
I'm sure they could
love.
use anything like that. But that would be totally neat. It would be so fun to have, like, which is your favorite Justice League character, or like Teen Titan character. They have that animated movie coming out. Things like that, I would totally be game for. It'd be a lot of fun. I like the idea of it a lot. And Donatello, good win. I've still wanted Leonardo to win, and he didn't even make it past the first round, so be it. Okay, Matt, let's get into the meat of it, which is our ANP headline of the week, and that's talking about those leaks.
Right, leaks, rumors, and everything in between. So
not much. Same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
we don't know what's a leak, what's a rumor. We're not sure. It's a rumor.
Exactly.
It's a rumored leak or a leaked rumor. You know.
So
half a dozen of one.
This is
dozen half the
more.
other.
We think this is more of like a juicy leak than just a fresh like.
This one seems a crazy town.
Nintendo employee leaving a piece
real.
of paper with everything out on it weeks before
leaving
E3 rumor.
Right, that's
so
true.
let's get into Pokemon.
But you know what? I want to say this. For every random piece of paper left out that are discovered very suspiciously, there's also, an iPhone 4 found in a bar in San Francisco. That's legitimate. So it's like, you never know. That's what makes the leaks so exciting, right? Like when the iPhone 4 was found and Gizmodo got it and Spanolite was sued by Apple and never invited back to their announcements. Like, that was real. And like, so I think, there have been other stories where they'll have these big games released.
So
Assassin's Creed,
right?
time and time again, it's people on flights that like end up getting, like working on a PowerPoint, the person sitting next to them, like, oh, I guess the next one's in Egypt or whatever. And so you never know. That's what makes these things fun. There's always a level of that plausibility to it. So, like you said, the first one we're talking about, Pokemon Let's Go. And speaking of which, Matt, let's tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, so we had an anonymous user on 4chan last week upload what they claim to be the names and logos of the upcoming Pokemon game. And by game, I mean games 2.
Right.
Let's play Pokemon.
What a twist.
Pokemon Let's Go, which the name, we can get into that. Pikachu edition and Eevee edition, and so the first of all the rumor or the leaked rumor or the rumored leak is that they're two separate games,
which is of course always the way it goes.
Always the way it happens.
Right.
Which is great. I like it. I really like that model a lot. I just love someone else having the other one.
Right, exactly. Having a couple exclusives, trade between is totally
I can't
fun.
tell you how many times I've bought a Pokemon game because a friend has said, like, you get this one, I'll get this one.
Right. You make a pact.
Battle.
We go. Yeah, exactly.
So many times I've done that. However, not too often because I think Black and White were the last games I played. And
great ones,
to be honest, Pokemon Silver was my favorite, but Pokemon Yellow was my second game next to Blue. But Yellow I had so much fun with because Pikachu followed you around. And this is supposed to be in the vein of Pokemon Yellow, where you've apparently have Eevee and or Pikachu or whoever your starter is in this case kind of following you around. But yeah, so I know like Pokemon rumors and things are a dime a dozen, especially rumors around these days. But this seems pretty legit because it came out with that, like, they showed that logo, and then what's her name? Emily Rogers then picked this up and tweeted it out. Right. And she's super reputable, so she didn't have to then like tweet this out too. But what she tweeted out was very similar and kind of legitimized this whole rumor or leak. And so that's pretty exciting. However, there was a couple of main takeaways around what this game would entail. And specifically, I think it was 2 years ago, the Pokemon Company said, or someone tweeted out from the Pokemon Company, I'm sorry, I don't have all the notes in front of me, but that there would be some connection between the next Pokemon installments and Pokemon Go. They really wanted to latch on to the success of Pokemon Go. And
this is kind of this is what's making these things seem more substantial, is because it's really tying in a lot of these long-standing rumors. So one of which, like you're saying, 2016, when Pokemon Go was at the height of its fervor, there were legitimate interviews where they said that GameFreak was looking into kind of incorporating the success of Pokemon Go or finding some ways to weave those into their core games. Niantic's Pokemon Go. So this kind of ties back into this. And then similarly, we have Detective Pikachu, and in that there was a prequel novel, like for Kindle, for digital, that's like an investigation that happens before the events of the game that stars Pikachu and Eevee. And there's been a lot of marketing material within the past year that's had Pikachu and Eevee both predominantly featured. Of course, Eevee back in Pokemon Yellow was Gary, the rival, not really Gary, Blue. but his Pokemon chosen. So like it really is kind of lining up together. And then also that leaked photo from a couple months ago, that was the trainer on the Lapras, and it looked very much like the 3DS game. And I still maintain, I think the Switch game is going to look like the 3DS game. You know, the power of the Switch is not, I think, what a lot of people are imagining for this hyper-realistic Pokemon game. And they have all these assets already that look great on 3DS that only look better in HD. Like, I think it's going to look very similar. It's going to look great. And I think it's going to look similar to 3DS when it comes to Switch for sure. Also, you want that for the battery life and the yada yada and all the systems. It's easier for them. In any event, and in that screenshot, there was an Eevee riding the head of a trainer on a Lapras. Like, everything is just coming together. And the funny thing about the developers' response to these leaks that were really picked up last week was, and I assume you probably saw this, Matt, but they were posting things on their like kind of Twitter account, like, well, we're back to work. And it was like the individuals, I believe at GameFreak, showing them like kind of huddling over notebooks and computers and kind of going about their day-to-day office life. And there's like people dressed up as like Pikachu and Eevee like in the frame. It seems like they're playing into it hugely.
Yeah.
So
it looks like there's been a ton of like just like, I don't know, foreshadowing tweets or imagery or things that involve both Pikachu and
It seems just incredibly likely. I don't see any way at this point where it's not true.
Let's see. Look, there's another piece of evidence, I guess. Let's see. In April, an official Pokemon account seemingly winked at the leaked screenshot with some plushies, and they put a little plushie Eevee riding a giant plushie Lapras, which is just awesome. I love that.
Right. It's exactly what that screen is. It just seems like everything's coming together. And what's interesting about it is the rumor. Is that
so you want to get into some of the specifics.
Let's do that. So it's rumored to take place in the Kanto region, just like Pokemon Yellow is the original set. Today, there's a Nintendo Force, another rumor, I suppose, that it's going to feature the original 151 Pokemon. So it's kind of drawing back on the original. So it's really going for that nostalgia play. It seems very smart, given how many people are hopping in on the Switch now who have not picked up Nintendo consoles forever. They'd probably be very excited to go back to there, or they'd be less excited to be like, who the heck are these, Sun and Moon Pokemon?
Whatever.
Like, yeah, and Nintendo's been moving that way for a while. Most Sun and Moon's most exciting Pokemon were the Alolan forms of the original 151. Like, they know that's their strength. Those are the Pokemon featured in Pokemon Go originally, and for most of the lifetime of that game until the past, year, really. And so I think they know what they're doing.
So like we said, there's also two versions, a Pikachu and an Eevee version. And then allegedly Red and Blue, the main characters from the originals, play a role in the story, and you and your rival are actually new trainers. So Yellow and Orange, maybe?
maybe Brown. You know what's interesting? The only thing that makes me think about these is like, in Pokemon Yellow, you had to choose Pikachu. And that's probably the one, I think, thing that makes that game a little more limited. Like, you never saw that again in any of the core Pokemon franchises. They never did that again. Obviously, Pikachu is special, but so that makes you think, okay, well, if you pick up Eevee version, do you have to get Eevee? Like, it is interesting in that way. Like, do you have to get Pikachu, or can you choose between either?
I mean, Eevee and its evolved forms versus Pikachu and
Raichu. I mean, I love Raichu, and Alolan Raichu is very cool, but then it's like the rumor, if it's just the 150, then you're just getting traditional Raichu, and it's like that is not nearly as interesting as all the evolutions, of which there are so many.
So
because there's those three, but then if it's just 151, but if it's not, you have Umbreon and Espeon, and if you go on, you have Glaceon, and there's one for pretty much every type set. So it's like it's a way more diverse Pokemon. It's a little bit of an interesting setup, unless in the original Pokemon Yellow, you collected the original starter Pokemon from Red and Blue, or Red and Green, as you kind of went through, so they incorporated them back in.
Do you have the Japanese version? Were you playing green version?
Of course, yes. Me, in 1988, I was importing.
I was almost sold the Japanese green at a swap meet in Orange County when we were looking for the games everywhere. And I'm pretty sure it was either a bootleg version, but we were like, "Whoa, this is awesome!" But can't read this.
Text is strange, I know. But that was in a time where all this stuff was so new. I had plenty of figurines and things that were had Japanese text on the Pokemon cards for a long time. Our
dad brought home a Japanese Yoshi story.
Very good.
He was like, "Kids, we got the N64."
You're like, "What is the language all these Yoshis are speaking? We can't understand it. It must be of a foreign tongue."
All right, so there's so much stuff to talk about in this rumor. So let's see. So we talked about like your Pokemon can follow you. There's a rumor around HMs. Swim and cut and fly. Still being replaced by Pokeride.
The Pokeride stuff, yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah,
that's definitely a good change.
We see that in that screenshot
for sure. Yeah, where you just call on a button to use these special transportation moves. That does not require you to kind of have a character you bring around to do HM solely. It's way nicer. And I hope they never return HMs.
A way to get around. Like that's just like kind of a game mechanic of the time, and I'm glad that they changed that up.
It took them a long time to change it, but for sure. I'm all with you there. The biggest thing that's interesting is, so potentially it might have some incorporation with Pokemon Go. That is the big interesting question, really for two reasons. One, what does it look like? There's a rumor it might have some catching mechanic. I think that on its face makes me pretty nervous because the catching in Pokemon Go is like totally fine and fun for the mobile game, and it's just as complicated as it should be for the mobile game. But for the handheld game, I don't want to just toss the ball. I want to weaken the Pokemon. I want to, paralyze it, and, get some status condition, use a special Pokeball that matches the type of encounter I'm having to try to up my chances. That's what's so interesting and complex about Pokemon. So, now in Pokemon Sun and Moon, for example, there was like the Pokemon-Ami and the things where you could kind of cuddle or touch the Pokemon or clean them or groom them. And so there was that type of mechanic. And I could almost see the Pokemon Go, like the ball thing working for like, you're in the Safari Zone, where you do just throw things. Like that could be an interesting mechanic that incorporates that cleverly. That is out, a little bit of an outside of the main game mode. I think that would be awesome. And I don't see them doing some type of crazy town like the battle system now works like Pokemon Go, like smash A and then smash your special occasionally. Like, I don't see them doing that, so I'm not that worried, but it is interesting. Also, I haven't played a lot of Pokemon Go, and I kind of come in and off of it, but I have a couple buddies who are still very into it and play it all the time, and there's a lot of cool content there. But I don't think someone like myself, I don't want to feel like I'm at a disadvantage booting it up. I certainly would be disappointed if it was like bring every Pokemon from Pokemon Go into it, then all of a sudden people have this complete deck. So I think it would be neat if you got some type of badge or a special Pokedex or something to see them between both, which would be cool. But I kind of want this thing to live on its own. I don't know that I want that incorporation.
Yeah, I don't want it. I don't want it at all. I don't.
But the name, it's definitely Let's Go. It's going to be in there.
The name kind of is already kind of turns me off. Like let's, it
right. It knows what it's doing.
It sounds like a spinoff, and I think that, I think that hopefully they are leveraging the appeal of Pokemon Go to make this game even more appealing. But I'm like, but it's nostalgic already. Like, what more do you need to do?
They had like for Pokemon Go that little walker you could attach to like a little lanyard, and then when you're getting steps, it would light up. You'd hit the button, you could throw a ball, you catch Pokemon without actively playing the game. I could see them trying to. I'm sure they sold a huge number of those things, and they were like fairly expensive for how limited they were. And like in functionality, and I could see them trying to do something similarly with this, where it's like, hey, you love Pokemon Go, check out the Switch game. If you do that and you hit these benchmarks, you get 5 free balls and one game or the other. Things like little incorporation with that would probably be in their best interest. Although the interesting thing is,
don't put Go in the name.
I wonder how it works. Also, because you have Niantic, former Google Alphabet kind of company, and then you in the West, and then you have GameFreak and Nintendo and Pokemon Company in the East. Is it in their interest? I mean, obviously they want to promote the brand, but is there anything else if they're like, we direct people back towards Pokemon Go, we make tons and tons of money? Like, I'm sure they are making a lot of money, but I'm not sure how that works or what the level of communication
their strategy
is.
Right now is to the whole mobile strategy is to bridge one consumer to their mainline console, and I'm excited. I'm excited for what this looks like. This is the first real iteration of that we're going to see, because we don't have a Fire Emblem mainline game yet, although there's tons of potential there. We don't have a Animal Crossing announcement or game yet, which if this is true, that's why I'm like, it gives me hope that there might be an Animal Crossing announcement soon, that they're really trying to hit, because Animal Crossing, I mean, it's only been out this year, but it's been out for a while. Like, I feel like it's kind of hit its peak and it's kind of died down, and I don't know how they're going to, if an Animal Crossing gets released next year in 2019, how they're going to like capitalize on this like mobile to console like connection when it's kind of already lived out its lifespan.
For sure.
But here I can see
agreed.
them really making those connections, and I don't know. I hope it's a legitimate like mainline deep Pokemon game that people like, hardcore fans enjoy, and it's easy for new fans to get into or old fans to return to.
I think if we take all the leaks as they stand currently, where you have the Go incorporation and it's only 150 and it makes you think it's just Kanto, it does make me start thinking perhaps this is more of a wider reaching, slightly more casual iteration. The original games are also not super long, and if you're going for that nostalgic factor, I think a lot of people will find themselves remembering how to beat it pretty quickly, unless it is made to be pretty different.
Right.
It's hard to imagine a game that only had the Kanto Pokemon and had really social elements like Pokemon Go incorporation, like appearing on the competitive scale in the same way that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon do. Like, it just doesn't seem like that. But then again, it's the only, probably, if this is real, it's the only Pokemon released this year, and then it kind of has to be. And then how do they transition on in 2019, since Pokemon is annual? How do they transition on 2019 to a more hardcore one without fear of alienating everyone who hopped on for Let's Go? So,
and perhaps this is just the first take on it, and then they use a lot of the assets from this game to really build out the next game.
Yeah, totally. I'm gonna guess this is gonna be not a huge departure from the Sun and Moon. I'm gonna say it's more hardcore than they're making it sound. I think that's my guess. Even though the name and the rumors are making it kind of seem the contrary, if it's a core GameFreak game, I'm thinking they're gonna kind of keep pace with what they've been doing. That's my take.
I mean, we've never seen them do a mainline Pokemon game out like too far from that, right? So
no, it's been very stagnant.
And for the big reveal on Switch, and Nintendo is definitely counting their pennies already, their dollars already from this game. I think. I mean, that was clear in their forecast for this year. And I think this is going to be the game next to Smash. It's going to really sell gangbusters for them. Yeah. So hopefully it's what it is. But it's going to get people like me to buy it. It's going to get people like my younger brother, who hasn't played a Pokemon game since we were 12.
He's 4 years old. So
he 4 years old, right?
4 years old. Let the record show, right?
So
for sure.
I mean, exciting. But we're supposed to now. Emily Rogers tweeted out that we should expect an announcement before the end of May. So we are.
Yeah, we have a week.
The time is nigh. Pokemon is nigh.
Pokemon is nigh. It's like a Wobbuffet holding a sign with like a Rorschach mask on it. It's like the time is Wobbuffet. It's going to be soon, so it'll be interesting to see. And I think that is true also because it's like, Pokemon and their connection with Nintendo. Pokemon's always wanted to remain their own thing, and I don't think they're interested as much in appearing in the middle of a Nintendo Direct at E3 and feeling like all their content is going to end up kind of getting overshadowed by whatever else Nintendo has. I think they really want to lean into, like, this is our event. They want to get their buzz going. Even though it would be huge at E3, they don't want to share the spotlight, is my perception. Right. They have Nintendo Directs that are just Pokemon. Sure, right? How often does Pokemon appear in a Nintendo Direct? Next to Sushi Strikers, not often, but you will get ones that are like, hey, here's 3 Pokemon announced for Sun, and like, here's something about Alolan forms, and that, they want to craft their own kind of story around it, and I think it'll come out before E3 is an announcement.
Hey, here's what I'm hoping the story is. I want a story where, like, it's like, it kind of, I don't know, like, you intersect
whatever
like
you're saying.
Blue.
I already think it's not going to happen.
Probably.
But keep going.
I think it'd be pretty cool if they came at this from a storytelling standpoint. Your characters are just kind of like chumps living in Red and Blue's world, like they're the Pokemon.
Right. Get
like,
schooled
you hear
in
about
it.
them. You like, they're like other.
That was like the best moment
at
the end of Gold and Silver. Of course, was at the top of Mount Silver, and
where Red,
in the end game when Red's there. Yes, just Red, and you find. I think Blue. Yes, maybe you encounter him. Maybe he's in the Elite Four. Oh, I can't remember. I'm sorry. Corrections, King D. But he's a gym leader. He is the Vermilion City gym leader at the in the end of Gold and Silver when you get the Kanto badges, which is so cool to go back. And of course that was Iwata-san, got all that onto the game cartridge and compressed it enough to have both games in the single Game Boy cartridge, which is so cool. But yes, to have it end with Red, and he's just like ... up on the mountain, and you fight him, and he has all of his like namestay Pokemon and Donovan, who is like in that first movie and like the featured, so they're trying to promote him, but like it was so cool. I love the idea of those characters legends. We kind of view them as that, so it would be neat to have them like already existing and be like, oh yes, the champion. Like you get your Pokemon Oaks, like my grandchild was the head of the Pokemon League once, and then was a gym leader, and it would be cool. Also, in the same idea, now I'm getting excited. If it were like we're talking about with Silver, where you go back and it's like opposed to Master Koga, the poison gym leader.
Yeah.
You know, in the Silver, I think it was Master Koga was in the Elite Four, and then like his daughter or something like that, kind of a hot young ninja gal, was like the leader of the gym. And it would be cool to see like the way in which that world has changed, like in 10 years, if you know at all. Because the Pokemon series does have, you know, they do have like a timeline that exists, and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon really opened it up more so with like the wormholes and kind of interweaving all those plots. It would be cool to see like the ways in which that might have been shaped. It would be more of a bummer to have it be like a straight like Team Rocket and Giovanni and like Silphco.
I want me some Giovanni or like some like.
Well, I want him there, but you know, I think his community service hours or something that he's got to do. I don't really know what
hideout or something.
I don't know what crimes Giovanni really committed, but whatever it is, I'm sure he's serving a hard time.
No, but I think I mean that all that's super cool. I think it's kind of like a really well done. It's kind of like a Marvel film where I'm hoping that there's lots of cool callbacks to games that, you know, hardcore fans will be like, yes, I love that great Easter egg, but not enough.
Oh, I love Heimdall.
A brand new, or a player who's coming back, or a player who's, you know, new to the franchise, or just like, like this is, I've got a Switch and it's Pokemon.
No. I'm with you. That would be neat to see. Let's see if they do it. Also, if they're going for more of a social thing or a bigger crowd, it would be cool to have some of the party games like back in Pokemon Stadium. You know, there was like the Licking Tongue, like the Sushi Belt, and you got things like there were all these little games. It would be fun if Pokemon Go integration is like a separate mini games to party zone thing. It would be cool to see the similar thing for like other types of games that use the touchscreen or are social. Especially if it does end up going for a little bit of a different bent. If it's just regular old Pokemon, great, I'm all for it. But if they go the other direction a little bit, I would like to see them explore all of those former ideas that we haven't really seen again. Pokemon Snap, you know, that appears a little bit in Sun and Moon, in that you can use a camera and take photos and you get evaluated, but it's very small. You know, maybe if you're going for something a little more diverse in this game, that uses this kind of safe, established Kanto region, maybe it has some of that functionality in there as a mini game. That, you know, that could also be. And more use it as if it's going to be wild, like go full experimental on it. Otherwise, though, I kind of hope and think it'll be more of a traditional game.
Cool. Well, we'll talk about all that and more once we hear
any day
officially,
or a couple days, and teams will react once again. Okay, Matt, let's finish off with our final kind of big ANP headliner, which is Star Fox and the rumors surrounding that. Star Fox, help us, Star Fox.
We need your help.
Uncle Andros. We'll just do voices. We'll do voices you've all heard a million times now for them. We're not going to reference the old BR, but everything else we'll make references to. Try a somersault. Use a smart bomb. Okay. Anyway, so let's talking about that. The rumor. Hey, what? You're good, but I'm better. Okay, let's talk about this. Star Fox, you know him, you love him. He's a furry. He's got a vest on. He's got boots. He's got a little dinosaur pal Tricky. He's got a real hot mama. Her name's Crystal, and she's got a terrible bikini thing, and she's trapped in stasis.
Oh God, Tricky.
You got General Claw or whatever the heck his name was, Scale, the guy from Star Fox Adventure, and you got the shopkeeper where he's like, that's
Scale.
That's
General
too.
Claw, maybe
That's too much. No, that's too low.
You
pay this fine. I'll take it.
Don't have enough scarabs.
That iconic character in Dinosaur Land when you're stomping around with your dino friends and you're throwing the ball and you're telling Tricky to stay.
And you're effing up. Yeah, it's and you're all the like basic. Well, I think we talked about this before. Like all the like standard sound bites for like electricity. We're all totally using that game. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Star Fox Adventures. I very much.
And kiss it goodbye because it's never coming back. What is this game? We should do a Star Fox Adventures like long cast some other time. Or even a playthrough. That'd be so fun and funny. Yes. And probably painful.
So what is this game? I'm very much hoping it's exactly what the rumors are saying it is, the Grand Prix style, like Diddy Kong, a la Diddy Kong Racing, aka it's got timed races. You're kind of shooting at objects, and Diddy Kong has balloons and other
rockets and things.
And this, it could be all kinds of
smart bombs and the blasters and those types of upgrades.
Right.
And yeah, so.
But what was key about Diddy Kong, right, was that it was the bosses would be introduced into
right. There was like a story mode component.
Race the boss,
right. Similarly to like Crash Team Racing, another great kart racer that was not Mario Kart, had like a cool story mode where you had like these big areas to explore. You go to the portal, you do the race, you unlock the challenges and unlock a boss, and you go to the next area. It had like this really fun movement that actually a lot of kart racers at the time had. There were some good like Lego kart racers that kind of, not really good, but I have fond memories of, that did similar things. That had like, they felt this need to put a narrative structure in there, and I think that's so cool. Obviously the stories were junk, but like they had this cool like thing to play through and unlock and beat, and really feel like you finished. Mario's never done that. It'd be awesome to have Star Fox do it. Plus it has so many characters that are so fun and simple that it would be like a great application of all of them, to see them, like all the various enemies to race. What does Andros look like as a kart racer? I don't know. What does his ship look like? I don't know. But like to have that type of stuff in there, would be totally fun. So the big part of the rumor, we're kind of bearing the lead here, is that the rumors Retro Studios is going to be working on them. They, of course, reinvented Metroid for the Metroid Prime trilogy, and they also, for this, for Donkey Kong, made the two best Donkey Kong Country games, in Country Returns for the Wii and 3DS, and then this game Switch.
That's super exciting to me. That, to me, is saying this game is going to be great, and it's also
right. And they have not made a game since Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Now,
no, they've been working on.
Yes, I believe they also, I think, actually are accredited for the port to Switch. So I think they also did do that. That might have been just trying to figure out the Switch hardware
through a few folks.
But it was their team. But otherwise, yes, of course, they're working on something. And so this seems like it could be it. And like, I think we should talk about this more in a different podcast, Matt. But like, for Star Fox, okay, the number of Star Fox games. How many Star Fox games do you think there have been off the top of your head?
7.
That's a great guess, actually. Okay, so there have been, let's go through them all. Star Fox 64, Star Fox Adventures, Assault, Command, 64 3D, so, count that or not. Star Fox Zero, Star Fox Guard, if you count it or not. And then...
okay, I was wondering if you would include...
Yeah, and then Star Fox 2. And I think generously, fairly, you could get rid of Guard and 64 3D because of the remakes. And that would put us at 7 unique games. And but really, there hasn't been, so we had Star Fox Zero in 2016, but before that, it was like a big lull. It was 2006 when we had Command, and only the remake Star Fox 64 3D in 2011. Right. So
yeah, the remake was the latest thing prior, right? So
right, and then for the SNES Classic, we had Star Fox 2 on there. Did you play that? Did you beat that game?
No, I
it's really cool, but it is really hard to play, and that it's framey, and it does like a lot of the game takes place in like the all-range mode, or utilizing the walker, which is neat. But back on the SNES, like to do the big 3D area to explore was very challenging with the D-pad.
Right.
But so yes, I think I just wanted to submit this really fast. Looking at the list of, let's just say 7 Star Fox games, how many of them? I'm gonna go through it, and you are gonna tell me whether or not you think it's a classic or not a classic as far as Star Fox games goes. Okay, so. We love the Star Fox characters.
Anyone listening, this is completely like based on my age and my experience.
Yeah, don't worry. We're welcome to offend anyone. We love these characters in Smash, but how many of these games would you really say are like classic? I want you to say this. I want you to say classic. Okay. I want you to say great. Or skippable.
Great.
And I want you to be totally honest with it. I don't want you giving me like, oh well, Star Fox 1. It was like I want you to, if you had to like revisit these games, okay, would you skip them, or would you say that they're classic or great? So the scale is a little bit goofed up, but we're gonna do it anyway. Okay, so 1993, Star Fox.
I'm just gonna save you time. I would skip.
I know, but I want to do it too. Star Fox, 1993. What would you say? Skip, classic, or great? But classic's the best, so skip, great, or classic. Okay, definite skip. Definite skip. Super X chip. I know, very excited for the time. That game is not fun to replay. It's really hard. It's probably epilepsy-inducing. Okay, 1997, Star Fox 64.
Play.
Yeah, I would probably say I would go as far as to say classic. I think if I were to do the scale again, I would say skip it or play it. Okay, Star Fox Adventures. Let's be real. I mean, I would say great because it has a special place in my heart, but it's definitely skip if I had to tell someone to play it or not.
Oh no, I would say classic.
I know. I love the game too. Okay, whatever. That's fine. Star Fox Assault. Star Fox Assault, the Konami game on GameCube.
What's the medium one? What's the middle one? Play it.
Great.
Or
okay.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Hard skip for me. The ground stuff on it was so bad. It was like a poor man's because Halo 2 was like of the same.
The multiplayer in that game. That was the multiplayer you wanted.
You wanted, but it was still so awful. I challenge you to go back and play it. It was in the vein of like I remember so vividly because we had Halo 2 back in 2003. Or so, it was like you had these big sandboxes and these vehicles to hop in and out of, and it was totally transformative, right? It changed online, Xbox Live.
The environments
it was crazy,
crap.
And then it was like GameCube was over there with like basically no online any functionality at all, right? Of course, PS2 and Xbox both had online services, and Xbox Live was transformative, but like. So I remember reading Nintendo Power, and they're like, "We don't want to talk about how great Metroid Prime 2's multiplayer is, but we like want to tell you, but it's embargoed." And it was so trash. It was like so awful and bad. And I felt like Star Fox falls into the same vein of like trying to make something out of like what was a very lackluster multiplayer experience. That's just my memory, I guess. It like it was like, "Oh, your favorite characters, and we got guns, and you can hop into tanks and whatever." But it was
right. Well, you gotta remember, for me as a like kind of a soul
right for sure.
And at that time, like all I was just like cool like. Ships
I hop in and out, and
maybe invite a friend over to like hop in and out, and I would just own them because it was super hard to figure out the controls.
For sure, and like how to split screen, like absolutely. But I would say skip on it, even though the game actually looked very cool, and the R-Wings looked cool. It had like the really lame story, and like Peppy like sacrifices himself at the end, and he has like the parasite on him or whatever to like break the force fields. But okay, and then Star Fox Command, skip. There's the DS one. Skip, great, or classic. Okay, I would say great too. Actually, I thought that was a great game. 64 3D, same thing. Is it that Star Fox 64 is classic, and then Star Fox Zero? You play this on Wii U?
I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was
good.
Okay, so let me take that back. I felt like it. I should have gotten some feedback.
I enjoyed it. Skip. The answer is skip on this. I played it too. I did beat it.
No, that game is
Kid Icarus, sorry King D. It's Kid Icarus Uprising all over again. It's impossible. It's so hard to play, and I focused, and I'm a smart boy, and I worked hard to play that game, and I was trash at it. I could never track the action.
Really?
Yeah, like.
Oh, I thought it was pretty easy to pick up.
Here we go.
The controls.
Was it ever fun? Were we ever like
terrible? But once you learn them,
they were fine. But even still, it was like I was always fighting a little bit with it.
It's another
remake.
And
another remake of 64.
I did not like the idea that they had to like let's make the graphics kind of look like N64.
It's because they was trying to put it both on like the Wii U gamepad screen and your TV screen. It was too much for the Wii U, so the graphics look like kind of simple. I love Platinum games, and they helped that game, but it's not a classic. And Guard is like a fun mini game, but definite skip. Star Fox 2 is definite skip. So if you go through all these games, only 64 and maybe Adventure are truly classics, or even fall into the category of great. Point being. There are more bad Star Fox games than there are good ones. And so for this, it's like my whole point on this. Yeah, I would be totally excited to see them do a different genre with a great developer, Retro. They have not had a clunker yet, and see what they can do with the franchise. It's totally ready for it. I like the shoot 'em up style of game, but it's ready for a reinvention for Star Fox.
Oh, I mean that's why. That has to be why. If this is all true, that's why it's Retro. This is a. Hey, we this I mean, it's not on life support, but Star Fox is a well-known character for Nintendo, despite the lackluster lineup of games.
Consider Metroid, right? We did not get an N64 Metroid. Right. It had been totally on life support, or just hiatus since Super Metroid. We hadn't had another one. And then it comes out and like reinvents the third-person shooter and tells an emotional story, in a way that no other game except for Half-Life at the time really had. And then you have the same thing for Donkey Kong Country. The last Donkey Kong Country we'd gotten before Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii was Donkey Kong Country 3 and Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong Land, the spin-offs for Game Boy, the third one. That was the last time we'd had a game like that.
That's why this is so exciting,
yes,
right?
They can do it.
I mean, because for any Star Fox fan, I mean, and sure, it may be a whole different take on, on Star Fox and this property in general. But like, there's a lot of great characters, and I think they can expand on them. Hopefully, put some more clothes on.
Yeah,
Crystal,
get her a jacket.
and,
She's cold. The space is very chilly.
Maybe steer away from the kind of the puppety look, although that was kind of a fun.
Yeah,
E3,
I kind of like it. I always have this like kind of in between feeling. Like I do love the characters, but then it's like when they get
if the game was good, it was
sure.
really good, then everyone would have been like all about it. But if it's just people like me that enjoy it,
and did you even really enjoy it, Matt? Like, can you be honest with our audience?
You know what? I was in grad school at the dark time.
Right. It was a half enjoy for me too. It's like I wanted to love it. I was excited to have Star Fox. I still played it and enjoyed myself, but I would definitely tell someone to skip it. I would never say like it's a must-play game on the Wii U. And the Wii U's library isn't even that expansive.
I'm super excited that if this is true for retro to get their hands on Star Fox.
Yeah, they need them.
Yes, please.
And I think it shows also
they've done.
Right. I think it also shows to me like a level of we saw retro did great things for these games, right? And then I think Donkey Kong Country, so to some degree, people were like, "Oh no, like Retro's not making Metroid anymore. Like it's a waste of their talent." That was like somewhat the perception. I think it's changed a little bit now with the Switch release, but like it shows that like Retro is still a powerhouse. If Nintendo is, relying on them to reinvent this, that means they still trust them implicitly with a franchise, mind you, that when Star Fox Zero was announced, back in 2015 or whatever. That's a Miyamoto property. Like the whole video is Miyamoto at the shrines, doing the drawings and talking about his concept. Like he holds this franchise very near and dear to him. It's one of his few like true action franchises.
Maybe the
right, but I'm sure it is, and I'm sure he'll have his hands all over this one, probably goofing it up. Even though I'm very thankful for him. But hopefully, if they are able to entrust this to Retro, it speaks well to them, and I think it's ready for it as a franchise.
So yeah, you think we'll see this at E3?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Rip F-Zero.
Right, let's
wrap it up.
Wrap it up really quick with the
yes, exactly. So the last thing to mention is there were a lot of trademarks leaked. Let's just go through and say real or fake. But the thing that makes this interesting is there were a bunch of leaked trademarks. There were 15, and one of which was Star Fox, correct? And so it kind of lends some credibility to the rest of them. That maybe they're real.
However, I did hear some interesting theories around. I think I forget where I heard this. Maybe in another podcast around it being potential Smash trophies or things that show up in Smash.
That's a really good idea. Well, let's go through each one of these and say if you think real Switch game or fake Switch game.
Star Fox, real.
And we're talking about in the
F-Zero.
context of are we going to see it at E3? I think, or even in 2018. Just 2018. So F-Zero, fake.
2018. No,
Pikmin?
I don't think we're seeing that.
Fake.
Pikmin, real.
I do.
You think so?
Listen, I have a lab kit I got when I was young, and I checked Blades of Grass all around all the time. I've never seen one gosh darn Pikmin in my life, and I think they are fake as hell.
I actually used to have a little question.
Never mind. Real. I think it's fake. I don't think it's going to be there.
Yoshi's Island?
Fake.
Yeah, I think so too. Art style. This is like an old
yeah,
game.
but Art Academy still exists, and there's the Pokemon one not that long ago on 3DS. So I'm just gonna say fake. I don't think we see it.
So Flipnote Studio. Yeah. I love that.
Very
I love
cool.
that.
DS and 3DS.
Right. That's why I'm like thinking like, ooh, a Flipnote Studio level.
That's a cool idea.
Smash Brothers. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm gonna say
as its own property. Talk about the things as their own properties. I'm gonna say no, but it would be cool to see in the online services these things kind of show up. Like if it were like, oh, here's like a little app and a cool interconnectivity you can do if you have the online service and it's this fun sharing network, social network thing. That would be a great application. Same thing goes for art style. It could be a new Miiverse-ish application.
We need some like Nintendo apps.
There are none.
Apps in general. We need some stuff on Switch.
Let's keep going. Sin and Punishment. I'm going for real, actually. I think so too. Especially,
yeah. Are you saying real?
I really loved the most recent one. Sin and Punishment. What was it? I want to say. Yeah, what's Star Successor? What am I thinking of? What game had a subtitle Star Successor? I'm looking right now. Okay. What are the rest of these?
The Legend of Starfy.
Fake.
Again.
No, it was Sin and Punishment Star Successor. That was the Wii one. I thought it was excellent. And especially if Star Fox goes Grand Prix Racer, then it means Nintendo would not have a core shoot 'em up. Unless they bring Kid Icarus back in the same vein, which I do not think they're going to do. then this would be a really cool one.
And it just seems like a great E3.
Especially like Ikaruga is coming out this week on the Switch, which is so cool. It's just a fun throwback. It's like a really iconic shoot 'em up, really heavy action on the screen, classic game. And if Nintendo has these things coming back, Treasure, they're the ones responsible for Ikaruga. Maybe they're clearly still active if they're putting a game on the Switch. I feel like maybe they're using that to kind of lead into an announcement of another game such as this. That would be so fun, so cool. It's such a bizarre, cool shoot 'em up game. Love to see it again.
Nintendogs. that seems like, I mean, it was such a mega seller for them. I mean, can you imagine that on Switch?
I know.
I mean,
that would be a big deal. I don't know. I think that would make more sense as a mobile game. So I'm gonna say as far as Switch, fake. No, Link's crossbow training, fake.
I'll say the same.
I think this adds more credence.
But now you mentioned mobile, I'm thinking, I could totally see Link's crossbow training.
Yeah, like a little shooting gallery type thing.
Pull your finger back to launch. But anyways, I'm gonna say fake for that. Then we have the whole
fake.
Wii.
These are all fake. There's no. I think they want to leave that Wii branding. Wii Fit, Wii Music, Wii Play, and Wii Sport. I think all fake. Especially Wii Play. Get out of here. Wii Play. Wii Music was obviously terrible, but Wii Play was like an accessory for a controller.
Right. Wii Sports, though, that would be
a hot property,
awesome.
Especially now that we know how powerful the Joy-Con really are. That would be so cool to see it come back. People would be so
cool,
excited to have the just.
Where's Wii Sports Resort? I want to, fly around
Mount Woohoo, I think.
What is it?
Woohoo Island. Yeah.
Woohoo Island.
Very iconic island. They really thought hard about that one.
The volcano erupted.
I know.
Recently.
We were already talking about Woohoo Island, the Kalawahua Island. Yes.
They can't do. You can't do certain resort games on that island. You can't joust anymore, or what can you do on that
joust. You could bike. You could bike around. There's the jetpack stuff on the 3DS game. There's various flying mechanics.
Oh, I actually, one of my first YouTube videos I ever made was me showing where all these secret.
Did you really do this?
The plane flight.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
This isn't on the channel?
Yeah, it's somewhere.
Did it have more than 17 views? Then why don't you bring that creativity and energy, Matt, to this? Take that, pull it down, put it on this, put a new lead in saying, let's do another Nintendo podcast. That's awesome. I had no idea.
I was like 15. I had
You were not 15.
No, I was probably
22?
19? 20? No, not 20.
For the three.
How old is Wii Sports Resort?
Wii Sports Resort. Yeah, you would have been on the younger side. But I was like 17 or 18, and you're, 2 years older than I am?
I was older than I should have been.
That's the theme of the show, is older than we should be, okay? Welcome to another Nintendo podcast. I'm your host. Okay, let's wrap it up with this and leave.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Okay, no, that's going to be it. Let's have a little song. Right. And I'm going to do Pokemon in honor of Pokemon Let's Go, which is certainly going to be announced probably by the time this episode posts. So let's go for it now. And I'm going to go for...
Thank you
so much for listening. Oh, hey, if you're still here, find us on Apple Podcasts. We're there now. Subscribe. We shouldn't have put this at the end, but if you listen this far, listen to that. Thank you so much. This is another Nintendo podcast. We'll see you next week.
Bye.